Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Bree from With Love Bree, and today I'm going to be making a mini bookcase. I got inspired on Pinterest. I saw a couple of posts, but when I went on YouTube, saw like 3 different tutorials. Tony made one, I think BB Crafts, and then forgot the other tutorial, but I followed Tony's craft purge here, and so I'm gonna go ahead and use her tutorial today. So she, if you want to check her out, then you definitely can. She also has the exact same tutorial that I'm using because I'm using her measurements. I am going to be switching a couple of things up from hers, not measurement wise, but just how I create the books. So we'll go ahead and just get started because I feel like this might be a long tutorial. I'm going to start off with some of the tools you'll be needing. You'll be needing a paper trimmer, and then I have one with a scoreboard. You can get these from Tuesday Morning. I know Michael's sells the newer version, and Hobby Lobby, where the scoring guide is actually connected to the inside now. You just have to flip it. But I got mine from Tuesday Morning a while ago. And then you'll also need some kind of scoring tool. This one comes with one, but I just have that on the side. And then Tony used some crafty, like, decorative scissors. I'm going to be using a punch. This is a Martha Stewart punch. You can still get this from Michael's. It's a lace border punch. I think it's like $30 something, maybe $30. But I used a coupon when I had the 60% coupon. And that was from Joanne, so I used it at Michael's. You'll need some kind of, like, for your closure, it's up to you and how you want to use, you want to close your book. You can definitely use like elastic, you can use Velcro, you can use ribbon. I'm going to be using elastic. You can get some from Daiso if you guys have a Daiso. I recently picked this up from there because I didn't have, I've been having a hard time finding elastic just at the store. Maybe it's just the way I'm looking for it. And then I'll also be using snaps. So I recently purchased these. I'm not sure if I'll have my share. I'm probably gonna have my share out first because I did want to do an opening of this. I got this on Amazon. It was pretty cheap. It was like 20 bucks. That's with tax. I do have Amazon Prime, so I literally got it the next day. But I did use one of these closures for my other bookcase because I did make another one. And I'll show you guys that after I show you all the tools you'll be needing. And then you'll also be needing your paper, of course. I'm going to be using the Flourish collection, which I am still working on projects for. I got mine, as you can tell, from Tuesday Morning, so you can definitely, hopefully, still find some if no one has grabbed them. There's 2 different 6x8 sheets. You can use these for your books, to create the books, because the measurements are perfect. One of mine says 6x6, but it's actually 6x8. And then I have a 12x12 because you will need 1 sheet of 12x12. At Joann's, in their clearance section, I did pick up some of the papers, which I have a haul on. You can use that because it's a double-sided paper, which I am going to be doing. I'll show you which one I'll be using. And then also you'll just need your choice of adhesive. I, again, use hot glue. So I'm going to get that plugged in and then get all my tools gathered. I believe that's it for now. If I find anything else, of course you need scissors, I will definitely bring that into the video. So let me go ahead and get everything set up here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Alright, you guys, so I went ahead and I chose the papers that I want to use. So here they are. Alright, and then I apologize for the rain if you can hear it. I know rain is soothing though, so I kind of don't really apologize. I guess I'm sorry, not sorry. But yeah, so that's happening right now. I did explain in my video that it was supposed to rain for a whole week. Well, it's now pouring, so that's happening, and then you'll probably hear some cars too because it's during the day. But yeah, so I'm going to try to speak as loud as I can. So this right here is going to be my base. This is my double-sided paper. I was never really fond of this paper, but I don't know, I feel like for a bookcase it wouldn't really matter. I'm just going to use it as the background. And because this one is like a piece of paper, I feel that needs to be the right way. Definitely just make sure that you score everything correctly. And then these are going to be my book covers. Tried to choose some that would match the background. So I tried to choose like 2 whites and 2 colorful ones because I didn't want it to clash too much because the background, I don't know, in a sense it's kind of busy with the florals. And then up to you, but you can use the same color cardstock. I use 4 different ones because I like them to match. I was planning on using 2, but I don't know, I felt like 4 would look cute because that's what I did with my last one. And then I am going to be laminating my book, so I do have 2 laminating sheets here already on the side, and my laminator is already heated up, so I'm going to try to get that going so that way we can let that cool down. So here is my sample. This is the one that I made. Pretty simple. I used actually the crepe paper Fa La La, or no, not Fa La La, the La La Love collection for the chipboard because I just felt like it needed something else because I don't have the chipboard for this collection, so I used that. And then I did some stitching, which I might do on this video too, just because I am going to be making this next box for some Happy Mail. I might give this one for Happy Mail too. The only issue is that that I'm going to change up today is the closure. So this is one of the books. As you can see, it's laminated. I use double-sided for all the books, but this time I'm only using single-sided sheets. For the closure, I was afraid to laminate it because I was scared it wasn't going to curl correctly, but now I think about it, I'm going to try to just score it. So we'll see how that goes. But I did use a snap closure. It is a little hard to take off just because it is paper, so I apologize if I do give this to somebody, but there's the inside. See, it kind of gets messed up, but I mean, it's still functional. If anything, you use thicker cardstock, but I like how the snaps look. And then I also switched it on and off because the snaps do get a little bulky, so I didn't want it to be causing the bookcase to like go out like this. So oops, I did also use the elastic. And then for my tassels, I don't really have a lot of little tassel thingies to create one, which I wish I did, but I just use some of the tassels that I have. Sorry, I mean charms, and then I used whatever charms I also had. Like this leaf, I actually cut up from a necklace that I wasn't using, and I just put it in my stash, and so I used this because I thought it was perfect. So that, and then these also came from a necklace, and I have jump rings in gold, so I was able to use it. I just didn't have a big enough one to wrap around this, so that's why I have this crochet thread holding it in place. But yeah, so that's how that turned out. And then I'll probably have pictures of this one on my Instagram. So if you guys don't follow me, just go ahead and check the description down below. I'll have all the links there for my Pinterest and for Instagram. Alright, so I'm going to set this here. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so first we're going to start with our paper trimmer. Alright, and we're going to cut our 12 by 12 sheet, the one that is going to be your the bookcase part. We're gonna cut that down to 12 by 10. The 10-inch side, you want your pattern, so you want your pattern to be going left to right. You want that to stay 12 inches, and then you're gonna cut this down to 10. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. I think, yeah, so we're going to have, I think the blue be the outside. Book boxes. Alright, so I'm going to cut 4 of these, because you need 4 boxes. It's going to be measuring 7 inches by 4.5. So I'm going to cut this down to 4.5 by 7. And if you have, again, a piece of paper that is going to be like, has to have a specific orientation. Let me see if I have one. Oh, like this one here. So like this one here. You want your 7-inch piece, again, to be the longest edge where your pattern is facing up and down, because we're going to be folding it. So just make sure your pattern paper is going up and down. This is what I mean by up and down. So we'll go ahead and just cut this one out. Has to be the longest, so I always like to cut mine how to where I could save as much of a whole sheet that I can. So the reason why I cut my sheet like this is because I wanted a specific part of this to be showing. I kind of wanted all of the colors to be there. Kind of wanted more blue, but I think these colors should be fine. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. So these are our sheets cut up. These are for the book covers and the bookcase. Now we're going to work on the inside of the book. We're going to have my cardstock. If you're using pattern paper, then you can. I'm using just plain cardstock. And we're going to cut 4 of these at 6 1/4 by 4 7/8. You can get 2 sheets out of one. Again, I'm using separate cardstock, so it doesn't matter. So now we're going to switch this to a scoring board because we're going to do some scoring. And alright, so we have 4 of our book covers, 4 of our book inserts, and then we have our book case. So what we'll do is we'll start with the bookcase. So for the bookcase, we are going to go ahead and line this up at the 12-inch mark. Alright, so on the 12-inch side, we're going to go ahead and score at 3 inches and 9 inches. Alright, and then we're going to flip it to the 10-inch. Now, for the 10-inch side, we're going to be scoring at 2 inches and 5 inches. You want to make sure that you're scoring on the part that's going to be folding up. So like right here, sorry. So our pattern is going to be going up like this. You want to score with this to the right side of your trimmer. I hope that makes sense. The only reason why I don't want to score it like this is because when I fold it, it's not going to fold right. You always want to score and fold against the score line. So I'm going to score on the 10-inch side at 2 inches and 5 inches. Alright, so this is how your scores are going to look. And we're going to set that aside and we're going to work on, we're going to start working on the book covers. So we're going to have to score these obviously 4 times. So for the book covers. On the 7-inch side, you're gonna just be scoring at 2 7/8 and 4 1/8. So if you have this tool or any scoring tool, this is easy because it shows you here. So 2 7/8 and 4 1/8. I don't know if you guys can see the scores on that one. It's kind of like a book spine. So we're going to go ahead and do that 4 times. What I'm going to do now, because I like the rounded corner look, I'm going to round my corners now. If you have a corner chomper, you can use a corner chomper or whatever corner rounder you have. I'm going to use my crocodile corner chomper at the 1/4 inch, which is the smallest one. And I'm going to do it to all 4 sides. Again, I'm going to be laminating these, but the only thing is that with the laminator, you're going to have to create a border with it. So I like to do this first, and I'll show you what I mean. And I score before I laminate it too, because it's actually, you can fold it without scoring the laminated part when it's already scored. So now we're going to score our inserts. So for the inserts, you're going to be scoring at 1 1/8 around every side. So it doesn't matter what side you start off with, you're going to be scoring at the same mark every time. So 1 1/8, 1 1/8. So this is what you're going to get, because you need that little box. And we're going to do that 4 times. Alright, so now we got all those scored. Here are all of our pieces. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we can actually set our trimmer or paper score aside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my pattern papers through the laminator. So, actually, pause. If you're going to be doing the snap closure, we're actually going to cut another piece of paper, so actually hold off on that if you're doing it. If not, skip this step. So let me go ahead and just choose a piece of pattern paper to use. I'm only going to do it on 2 of them. Alright you guys, so I'm going to be putting closures, snap closures on the gold piece and then this bird piece. These are the 2 patterns that I chose. So this one's going to go on here, and that one's going to go on the gold one. Actually, no, I'm going to switch it up. So I went ahead and I got my measurements here. I didn't score the last one, but remember, like I said, this time I am going to score it, and I'm also going to laminate these pieces, because just to give it more stability. So we're going to go ahead and cut this. I'm just going to pull this out. Alright. So for this, you're going to need a piece that measures 1 1/8 by 4 1/4, just depending on how you're going to be doing your closure. Of course, you don't need to do this. So I'm just going to cut this down. Okay, and then just remember, again, if you have a piece of pattern paper where the orientation does matter, just make sure that your longest side is where your pattern is going up and down. Right side, I guess you could say. So now we are going to score this. So I'm going to score each piece at 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. Because our binding measures 1 1/4, so And this is the side that worked for me. You can always change it. Just know you need a 1 1/4 inch gap in the middle of them all. So again, 1 1/4 and 2 1/2. And I'm keeping the left side a little bit longer. The only reason why is because let me just make sure. Is because I want, it's going to be tucked under the book and or the insert piece, and I really want to make sure that this stays down. So that's the reason why I kept it longer on one side. And also so you can kind of determine where each thing is going to go. So I'll show you here. So I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a shorter end and a longer end. The longer end is going to go towards your, or going to go in the inside of the book, which I kind of messed up because you want to measure with your pattern paper going upside down, just because you know, you don't want it to be upside down like this. But I'm okay with it. The reason being is because I'm going to put a snap closure anyway. It's going to cover it. So now I'm going to go ahead and just get my laminating started. Oh yeah, this is why I should have waited, because now I have to wait for it to reheat, which shouldn't take too long. But I'm just going to get this prepped so that way when it is heated up, we can put it through. So these are the Scotch laminating sheets. I get these from Target. I think it was about like $20 something for a pack of 100. I'm not sure, maybe less. I always look on my Cartwheel app because sometimes online it's a lot cheaper and they'll price match it to the online or your app. So just keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to make space for our closures. I'm going to do 2 per sheet. And then I'm going to do 1 closure each. Make sure you have enough space too, because when you laminate, it does leave a little gap. So if you cut too close to that, it's going to open up. It's not going to seal right. So that should be good there. Seal that. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Alright. So these are ready to go. Once that heats up, we'll set that in. What we'll do now is, while we're waiting, we can get the box put together. Oh, actually, look, it's all done. So I'm gonna bring in my laminator here, and I totally forgot to pull out the tray, but definitely want that done first. So here's the laminator. It's just the Scotch one. You can get this from Target, and you want to put the sealed side down first. I need to bring this closer, just because my tripod. You just slide it in here, and just make it sure it's as straight as it can be. Oops. And you want to hold it, of course, because that's going to fall. But here's how this looks.
Ooh, that one curled in. So yeah, just make sure you watch your edges, because you see that'll happen. But it didn't mess up the whole thing here. I think it's because I was so worried about the tripod. Let's grab my next one here. Alright, I'm going to pull that one out. I'm going to slide this one in now.
And I like to run it through twice. The reason why is because I just want to make sure that it is sealed correctly. Sometimes I'll even cut these out and reseal everything separately. It goes pretty fast. It really doesn't take too long. But for this one here, I actually don't need to reseal it again. I'm not going to do it, just for video purposes. And when you do take it out, it is a little hot at the bottom, so just make sure that you be careful with that. And I'm not pulling it, I'm just holding it. So I'm going to go ahead and just set this down. Right, and I turned it off. Okay, so so now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and trim this out. I'm going to use my paper trimmer to get more of an accurate cut, just because if I use my scissors, sometimes I do cut a little too close. With this one, I don't think you have to be too worried about the laminating opening, excuse me, just because it is, I'm not making a pocket, I just realized that. When you make pockets, you have to be careful. But, yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and trim this out really quick. Okay, and then for this piece, if you want to, if you wanted to round the corners, which I did on my last one, I forgot, but you can round the corners first, just so that way you can have that cohesiveness of having rounded corners. I'm gonna just round it now, see how it looks. Yeah, it doesn't make a big difference, just because again, you have that, like, do you see the border of the laminator? Because you really want that border. You just don't want it to open up. So again, that was my mistake, but you can definitely do that. Just make sure you round the corners first. Alright, you guys, so I went ahead and I cut all the pieces out, and I also rounded all the corners. As you can see. Again, if you want to round the corners of these, you can. So these are all the laminated sheets. We're going to go ahead and get all the pieces put together. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the bookcase itself. So again, we have our score lines here. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to crease all our lines. So, you know, I just realized I scored this the wrong way. So the side that you want your pattern to be, make sure it's upwards, not down. Alright, so now that we have all of these creased, we're going to go ahead and just take our scissors. And what I'm going to do is, so you're going to cut on your 10-inch side, you're going to cut each score line. So you have these two score lines right here, 1 and 2. And you're going to score only up to this first line here. Then you're going to flip it and do the same thing on this end here. And what I like to do, you don't have to do this, is I like to kind of cut an angle on one of the on the center piece here, just so that way when it comes to folding, it's a lot easier. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going to cut up straight really quick. Okay, so we have this middle piece here. I like to cut at an angle, because when I fold it, at least it makes it easier to fold, because if this piece is a little bit longer, it's gonna interrupt with my folds. So I'm just gonna cut a very thin angle out, so that way the piece looks like this. So can you see the little gaps in between? So that when we fold it up, everything is kind of like, it's not peeking out or interrupting any of my folds. So I like to do that. You don't have to. I don't think Tony did, but when I make boxes and stuff, I kind of like to create those pieces. Alright, so now that we have that, what I do is I do my punching after I do my cuts, or do my cuts, because what we're going to be doing is, so right here what she did was, to get the best estimate, she folded these up and she cut up to this line here. She just cut this off. I'm actually going to just use my paper trimmer. If you cut 1 inch from the outside in, that's a good amount, so I'm going to do that. So I'll show you here. Again, if you want to follow hers, she kind of just cut it without the trimmer, but I line mine up at the 1 inch mark. And then I just use my blade to cut out the center of this one. Just like this. so this is how it should look now. And this is the bottom part. So when we fold this over, you could see it lines up perfectly. But again, you don't have to do that step. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to temporarily fold it like the bookcase should be looking. If this bothers you that it's upside down, then you can always just choose a piece of paper that you don't have to worry about the orientation. But I really don't mind it. It looks good either way. But yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually have to cut that angle that she made for the, let me see if I can pull it out, for this part right here. So I'm gonna do what she did, and you just kind of create the box already, and you just go from one corner to this corner here. It's not gonna be super straight. You try your best, just try to follow that edge. Alright, and then do the same for this end. Okay, cool. So now we have the bookcase. And then if you are going to use your scissors or your punch, this is where you'd want to go ahead and start doing that. So, oops. So I'm going to use this punch here. And I'm just going to make sure this is all lined up. Okay, and then for this one, what I like to do is I like to start in the middle because of the angles. So I start here, and then I get the center done first. Okay, so that's how this looks here. Barely goes to the edge. I'm going to go ahead and just start working on this side. And when they combine, it really doesn't look that bad. Alright, so I'll set that aside. Here is how it looks. So you can see the corners. Really doesn't look all that bad. Okay. Alright, so that's how that is. And then I am going to take this to my sewing machine. I'm going to go ahead and sew this. I am going to probably sew it in this mint color. I'm going to check to see. So actually, because this is going to be on the outside. Yeah, I think I'm going to use, so this is the hard part, is coming up with the kind of like thread you want to use. Should I do hot pink to change it up a little bit, give it some color? Yeah, why not? Okay, I'm going to use hot pink. Alright, so I'm going to bring this to my sewing machine and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I'm back on my desk here. I am just cutting off the threads from when I sewed. I did backstitch, so it should be good to go, but here is the stitching. I'm glad I went with the hot pink. It looks super cute. It's not as bright on camera, but again, it's raining, it's really gloomy. I'll probably show you guys a video of how much it's raining and how dark it is. I think right now it is 12:08 and it is dark, and with time change it shouldn't be this dark. But yeah, so again, I only did, because I did the punch, I only did a border like with my last one on the sewing. This one I used a lighter pink. You guys can tell the difference. But yeah, so that's that. And then what I'm going to do now is, so I put these pieces on the inside. This goes on the outside. I'm not sure which way Tony did it. And then I adhere this right after. Just like this. And the only reason being is because if it'll like get this edge that we punched on the outside, because if we put this square piece on the outside, it's gonna look kind of weird. It's not lined up perfectly, but anyway. So what I'm gonna do is put hot glue on one end here and adhere this down.
So I have my hot glue here. I hope that this one has enough glue. Oops. So for this one, I do like to put a lot of glue, because again, it's going to be holding up everything. So I'm just going to adhere this down. Make sure it's flush. Oops. Don't burn yourself.
And then this is going to get, oops. You guys see what I'm doing? Let me zoom. Alright, so I just glued those ends down. And now this is going to get carried up and glued here. So what I do is I like to just start on this end. It doesn't matter what end, but I like to start on one end and put my glue. And adhere it down. Alright, so that's the base. And now we're just going to work on the books. So here's the base. How that looks. And I'll probably do a separate video on decorating everything. But there's the sewing. Alright, so now what we're going to do, now that we have that, we're going to work on the book covers as well as the inserts. We'll have to do the inserts first, obviously, because we have to make boxes, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so I don't know if any else gets this messy, but when I record videos, my room gets destroyed. I record on this side, so it doesn't really matter because there's not too much mess, but yeah, that's a little concerning. But here's the rain. We have a pear tree out there that is literally that. That's the pear tree. Don't mind the tape. Again, we're getting the windows fixed, but yeah, it's pouring. It's super dark. But yeah, anyway, we'll go ahead and just get back to the project. Alright, you guys, so I'm gonna make one box on screen, and then the rest I will make out just off screen, so I don't have too much to edit. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and just crease everything down. Alright, so now that we have all those creased down, we're going to go ahead and make the box. So what I do is I start on the shorter side here. So the 4 7/8 inch side, we're going to cut. So you see this score mark here, you're going to cut all the way up to that other score mark. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the stand or the holder. I'm going to cut at an angle. This time I'm going to cut on both sides. I'm just going to cut very slightly. It just really helps with the folding. So there's that. So again, I'll just bring it up here. So this is the score line. I'm going to go a little bit off to the edge and go in at an angle up to that point there where the two scores meet. And then same thing on the left side. Just to make this like triangle piece, and then that gets cut out there. So and then we're going to do that for all the pieces. But again, I'm going to do the rest off camera. Okay, so there's that. Now what we're going to do is we're literally just going to fold these in and glue these to the inside. So these two ends are going to get glued here. Alright, so go ahead and do that. Again, I'm using hot glue. You can use double-sided tape if you feel more comfortable. Whoa. Got a little dingleberry of hot glue there. Alright. So because it's cool in my room right now, I'm just, I usually do 2 at a time at the end. If you guys seen my like embellishment box, cookie box thing, you'll see that I do 2 at the same time when it comes to the last part. But the glue will dry really fast right now because it's cool in my room. Which I'm not complaining about because when it's hot, I can't record because I just get way too hot. Okay, so there's one box done. We're gonna go ahead and get the other 4 done now. Alright, so we got all 4 of those done. Now we're going to go ahead and get the books put together. So set these aside and we'll bring these in. What we're going to do is crease everything. So again, remember before we laminated it, we went ahead and made our score marks. So now we can go ahead and crease everything. And like I said, you don't have to crease the piece unless you want to, but you really don't have to because it really folds super easy once it's already scored. So there's the book. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the rest. Alright, so now we got the books all put together. Now it's going to be for the closures. So basically, I do the closures before you put the box together because sometimes you want your closures to be hidden using the box. So I always come up with what kind of closure I want to use. Most of the time you can actually just put the box in if you're going to be using just the outside of the book. So again, we're going to be using these 2. Set those 2 aside. I have my closures here, so I'm going to go ahead and crease these ones. Alright, again, if you do my measurements, you are going to have a longer side. That longer side is going to go on the inside of the book. Alright, and then for the snaps, so you are going to need some kind of awl tool. This one came with the snap kit because I got the kit, and so I will be using that one. But this here is the setter. I did spray paint it black because I didn't like the silver. It looked like a man tool. And then I did take off the cover here. I was trying to take it off, but I think I'm just going to cover it. I didn't like how it looked. But yeah, so here's this here. Alright, and we're going to figure out exactly where we want to place this because this is how it's going to look. I think I switched it right, so this is going to actually go here. So once you have the placement, because again, you just want to make sure your placements here are correct. You're going to poke a hole. Well, you're going to at least try to. This awl is pretty sharp, so kind of measure. I'm just going to use one for now and just kind of see. Yes, so centered is good. I usually just use this to poke kind of where I want it, and yeah, you can already hear it going through. So you need 2 of those holes. Alright, and then I'll show you the pieces you'll need for your snaps as well. So I had to do a battery switch, but yeah, so I have to just figure out what colors I want to use. Like, I don't know if I want to use this green, even this mint color on this one. I'll use the mint on this. So you'll need 4 pieces total when you do the snaps, and I'll go over those pieces with you. I'm just going to pull them out now. Should I use black for this one, actually? Ooh, yeah, I'll use black. Oops, sorry. I kind of like the pink because the bird's face is pink, so I'm gonna go with that. And so we have these and this, I think. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna set this one aside. I'm gonna go ahead and just make my hole here, and you can measure if you want. I only like measurements when I'm making like a book or a box or something, but when it comes down to this part, kind of don't measure, kind of eyeball. If you guys haven't seen my bow tutorial, you'll see I kind of eyeball everything. Okay, that should be good for now. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. We're gonna go ahead and start here. So what you'll need is you'll need 2 of these pieces that have like the pointy side to it. You guys see? Looks like a nail. You'll need 2 of those, one for the top part and one for the bottom. And then you'll also need a male and a female piece. So there are differences. The male part sticks out, the female part goes in. I hope you guys as adults can figure that out yourself. So let me show you here. So the male part goes out, this one goes in. You guys can see, because you need one to be able to go into the other. Alright, so I'm gonna do here. So for the top piece, you obviously want this here, because this is going to be your top part. You want that to go in first, so it looks like that. And then you're going to flip it. Doesn't matter if you want the female or the male piece to go first. I like to have the male part go in first, so I like the male part to be on top. I like it to be able to like snap off like this. Alright, so then with your tool, mine makes that noise, I'm sorry, but basically what you want is this bottom part here is going to go onto this little plate. So there's this little plate right here. You want that to be in there. And this part is going to go on the inside, just like this. I hope you guys can see that. Because there's this metal mechanism inside that will actually flatten this nail piece, and I'll show you. So you kind of just put a little bit of pressure, and you can see now that nail piece is now flat. You can see in the inside. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, but here you're going to put this piece, the part with the nail, on the inside, because you want this, the male or the female part, to go on the outside, because you want to be able to snap it open and close. So now do the same thing here, and it's kind of easy to get this on the plate because it kind of just rests in there. Yeah, so there's that. And then what I do is I attach it, so when I glue it, it's going to be straight.
Then you're going to want to take one of the pointy ends and put that in first. I'm going to take the male piece and have that going outwards on the inside. You're going to take your tool and rest in there. And then just, and I took it off because I can't wait. I kind of moved it around and everything, and so scratching so it doesn't dry. That's because I'm impatient when I want to use something. Alright, and then again, you're going to put this piece at the bottom. You're going to put your female piece up, and we're going to get this in. you're just gonna squeeze it. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. And then this one is going to snap on. And then the inside, like that. Alright, so
now that we got our pieces done, we can go ahead and put our boxes together. For this one, I'm going to do the closures after because I'm using elastic. So for these ones, what you're going to do is I'm going to take, I actually should figure out what I want for each book.
Sorry, my fingers are ready. Let's see. So I think we can have this one be the pink. That would be cute. This one can have the mint. This one can have the dark one. Like that.
Okay, perfect. That was easy. Alright, so see how cute it is to have different colors. So now what I'm going to do, oops, because we scored this, you can easily line this up with the edge. But the only thing is you just want to make sure that you're lining it up to where the snap is going to snap in place. So that's where I actually can adhere this first. So I'm going to keep the snap in. I use Fabri-Tac for this part because the hot glue will dry fast. And with the Fabri-Tac, it dries fast, but it also gives you time to move around. So, and you could rub it off, especially since it's laminated. You don't have to worry about it damaging your project. You can get Fabri-Tac anywhere. It is meant to hold down things like this, like obviously fabric, but also pieces like laminated things and stuff. But alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it. Just make sure it's lined up, and I'm going to line up the edge here with with that edge, and I'm going to push down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unsnap it and just make sure it's straight. And again, just make sure it's lined up with this edge here. Alright, and then that's that. I'll let that dry. We're going to do the next one here. Same thing. Grab this. And I'm gonna, it's raining really hard now. To think that it couldn't get any harder. And then pushing it down. And I'm just going to pop this. And make sure it's sealed. And the good thing about putting it on the inside, so you can put it on the outside if you'd like. But the only reason why is because this will hold it in. Like hold it down, you see what I mean? And then on the back it's not as ugly. So I'm gonna go ahead and now adhere all the boxes down into the book, and I'm gonna use the Fabri-Tac again for the same reasons, because it dries quick and I can also move it around a little bit before it dries. Alright, so there's book one all finished. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and just, or I'm going to go ahead and get the rest put together. Alright, so there's the fourth book. Now, I'm just gonna see, look at this. Like, it just oozes out. I don't know why. I'm not gonna close that. Or else I'll never get the cap off. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is do the elastic closures. So what I do for that is take the book and I just kind of place this in the middle. I cover this backing piece with like ephemera. So, oh, whoops, wrong one. Hello. Like this. So I'll just like put some kind of piece of like ephemera on there to cover that. So I'm going to estimate how much I need, and then I'll cut 2 pieces of that so that I don't have to worry about doing this measurement again. And this is where I use my hot glue to adhere or get it on here. Okay. And I kind of give space in the middle so that way, here, I'll show you. So like this, I give it some space. So I'm going to cut 2 of these. Okay, and then now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this around. And I don't want it too tight because I don't want the book to be squished. I want to give it a little bit of space. You don't even have to put this in the middle. You can even put it at the top, like line it up to the top here, more at the top. So that way if you want a piece of ephemera covering it, you can have the ephemera at the top, you can have it at the bottom. It's really up to you. I don't mind it being centered. And then I go about 1/2 inch from the outside in. I just move my elastic to the side like this, and I put the glue here. So I'm just going to put like a dot where it's supposed to go. And then I just place it on there. Again, don't burn yourself. So there's that, and then again you can use your ephemera piece to cover that part up, and then that's that there. What I like to do, I like to just secure it a little bit more, even though I'm going to have a piece of ephemera covering it, and just put some glue right over it and kind of spread it on there. See right now, but trust me, once you have something covering it, it doesn't even matter. That's how that looks. And then I'm just going to push it down a little bit. So I'm just going to use my little finger protector thingy. Alright. So there's that one. I'll get this one done now. Alright, so that's how that looks. You can see it's kind of like globby there, but it's not thick, obviously. It's just a little bit, but you can cover that. So I'm going to let that dry for a second. Alright, and then again, I'll probably decorate these and add like either tassels or something else on the sides, probably in a separate video if I decide to do one, because again, I don't want to feel the pressure of having to do one and then, you know, it doesn't turn out as good. So I'm just going to slide these in the way that I want them. And then here are the ones with the closures. Oops. So you don't want to push, you want to slide your finger in here when you do this. So whoever I send this to, again, I don't have pen pals just yet, but when I do figure that out, you just want to stick your finger in to close it, and to open it is fine now because it has that laminated piece. But yeah, you want to just make sure you put your finger in there. You can push the box a little bit in and then push down on that too. But there's that. The closure, super cute. This one turned out way better because I laminated this, so I'm much happier about that. Let's see if I want it. So I am very particular in the way that I organize these. Okay. Oh, perfect. So pink, blue, and this is how the side looks. The hot pink stitching. And then with the books, these are the 2 closures with the snaps. And then these are the 2 with the elastic. And then here is the case. And then I also will show you the one that does have the tassels, so you guys can kind of see how it looks. So there's that one, and then here's this one, all decorated. So this one sounds like more subtle. and a lot more soft compared to the colors here. These are brighter. And then this one I use like a lighter, like pink. It's not neon, but it matches like the flowers in here. And then I just have my Handmade with Love, and then again these have the snaps, but the only difference is that this doesn't have the laminated closure, and with the laminated closure I didn't do the rounded corners first, but still looks cute to me. They're both functional, so I might keep one for myself just cuz, or I might gift both of them. But again, if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram because I will be doing like a pen pal call. So definitely have these two. I am going to decorate this one. Again, I don't know if I'm going to do it on camera, but just keep an eye out for it. I'll probably have it out the next day if I do. So there's that, and here's this one. I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. Again, this was not my idea. This has been done several times already by other YouTubers. Again, I went by Tony's measurements, so I hope that you guys enjoyed my tutorial. And I hope to see you guys in a decoration process video. But for now, that's all for today's video. I hope you guys have a great day, whatever day it is that you guys are watching this, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!